This program was brought to you by Organo Gold. Organo Gold is a health and wellness company that provides healthy coffees, teas, and chocolate. All one has to do is consume the available coffee, teas, chocolate, and other products to get all the available benefits. One can also share these products with others to help them improve their health as well.
And now, Fairfax Breakfast Club with your host, Besile Lemba.
Welcome to the Fairfax Breakfast Club show. My name is Besile Lemba and I will be your host. The Fairfax Breakfast Club is a weekly program in which we bring to you valuable and workable know-how you can use to improve your networking skills and grow your business. We always start the show with a quote. However, today, we'll start with two quotes, not one. The first one is, some people today are wondering generalities instead of meaningful specifics because they have failed to discover and mine the wealth of their potential. The second one is, if you must hire for passion first, experience second, and credentials third. Then train those hired for directed passion, dropping excess baggages, and the whole process of unlearning. An entrepreneur is much like an architect shaping human resources into a well-crafted powerhouse. And that is from Nikhil Sharda. With us today in the studio, we have someone who has served for 23 years in the Army and went ahead and put another 16 years career at Besile as a program manager and team leader, and has designed, developed, and executed over 135 training events for government agencies, Fortune 500 companies. And his name is Scott. Hello, Scott.
Hi, Besile. How are you today?
Good, how about you?
Good. Nice.
Okay, nice having you on the show. Again. Yeah. I hope I gave a little bit of an idea as to who you are. Explain to us how your company came to be.
I've spent 16 years in Besile working with major corporations. Mm-hmm. I was lucky and got to a point in life where I could do what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. Decided to start a company where I could come out and help small, medium-sized businesses overcome one of the major costs for them, which is employee turnover. Mm-hmm. So I did some research into some options that were out there, found a company in Waco, Texas, that allowed me to have a suite of tools that I can take to business owners to help them hire the right staff, then train that staff so that they're an engaged employee force and retain them to minimize the cost of employee turnover.
Okay, very good. Now, why don't you give us a good example, Scott, on how you do it, of a company that you work with and help?
The first step is we go in and we do a no-cost consultation with them, take a look at the staff that they have, the turnover rate that they're suffering from. I mean, this is a huge expense for most companies. For a company with about 100 employees, the average rate of turnover nationwide is 12%. Wow. So it costs them about $300,000 a year to hire, train, replace someone who leaves in, say, 6 months. Wow. And this is if the employees only have a salary of about $4,200 or $42,000 a year. So we go in, we benchmark their current staff, which is we give them a survey. It takes a look at 15 different personality traits. And in your quote, you talked about hire for passion and capability and a fit with the corporation. We then, any new employees they're looking to hire, potential hires, we run those against the benchmark that we established from the successful people they have in those positions. So instead of just taking the resume, reading the resume, and then asking the traditional interview questions, you now get a feel for personality traits like creativity, decisiveness, sensitivity, compassion, things like that, to see if it fits in with your corporate culture.
Gotcha. Okay. Very good. So that's definitely a key thing, because being that the most important thing into a company is the people. That's the asset number one.
It's their biggest asset, and it's a huge cost for them as they have to retrain staff. Is there short people? Other people have to take over what's being done in those positions. And if we also look at those and help them put them in what we call a job fit, make sure they're going into the right types of positions. We have some surveys that allow you to create those for different positions in your company, and they can take those as part of the hiring process to see if they have the skill sets needed to be successful for you in your company, and really to minimize the cost of people coming in and not being productive for you, not being happy in the culture. If a position requires good customer service and they just do not have that personality trait, you may have somewhere else in the company that they can be successful for you, but you don't want them working your customer service desk.
Gotcha.
So,
okay. So that's something that you, in your program, you take care of, meaning, lack of a better word, maybe you try to find the vocational,
right,
if I could put it that way,
right,
the vocation that the person have and get them along that position.
Right. We can sit down with the program managers in the company or the HR people, write a tailored survey based on job skill requirements, and then have people take that survey and see how they fit in. And couple that with the personality assessment that we do, and that will allow you to get a better feel if they'll fit into the positions that you're looking to have them inside the company. And once you have them in your company, we also have a survey, an assessment that we look at, like program management, so that you can see if the people that you currently have on staff have the personalities to become a leader in your company, and if they don't, then you can find the training to meet where they're showing their shortfalls. And really, it's to start to create a longevity in your employees so that you're not having a turnover. These people then feel that they're engaged in the company and the success of the company, and that they're helping move the company forward. And they're then invested in it, as opposed to an employee who doesn't feel engaged. They really don't have any draw to stay with the company. The next time somebody offers them $10 more, they're gone. In this case, they feel that they're vested and they stick around, saving the company, the business money, in some cases, hundreds of thousands of dollars a year.
And one of the things I hear you mention last time when you did a presentation was the onboarding process. Can you talk a little bit about that? I think you mentioned, you give an example where or somebody or you, I don't remember exactly, went on post, and for 3 days nothing happened.
Right. Yeah, the in-processing in some companies is just very impersonal. You go in, they hand you, here's your key to your office, you go sit down, and there's really nothing that brings you into part of the company. So we work with the companies to talk about their onboarding process. It's not in processing anymore, it's onboarding. You bring them in, you give them a day one sponsor who sits down, kind of shows them the ropes. Where's the bathroom? Where do you go get Diet Coke? What floor is it on? So on and so forth, as well as help them understand the ins and outs of the corporate culture. As you start to take this process and personalize it more, once again, we get back to that engagement with the staff, as opposed to them just being an employee. They now feel like they're part of the family, and that helps. Once again, make people feel welcome and that they're part of the company. Okay. It's tailored to each company. We sit down as part of the review process we do with them. We work with some other people who are involved in that HR kind of world, get best practices, and come in and talk about that with companies.
Okay. Very good. Now, how could a solopreneur or a small mom and pop could benefit from what you do? Because I have the feeling that's scalable.
It is. It helps them because most of them can't afford to have an in-depth HR program or a resident training program. And a lot of the big companies around here, they devote 300, 400, 500 people to training their staff. By coming and finding a company like COBRA Leadership, we can come in, tailor a training program to their needs, and then help them with things like customer service training, time management training. We do team building exercises so that they have an opportunity to train their staff without a constant cost to them. They pay for it as needed, as opposed to having to have a training program on site. using the assessments that we have that allows them to make the right hiring choices so that they can minimize the HR footprint that they have to have in order to keep up and going. If it's a small company, 4 or 5 people, we may be able to do some training for them. 50 to 100 people becomes significantly more expensive for them in turnover, so we're saving them more money. But it is tailorable. Work with companies 5,000 to 8,000 people just as easily as we work with somebody with 50 to 100.
Okay, very good. How large is your company? Or how do you have the resources? I'm assuming that you're scalable, because if you can do this, so you probably have. How do you handle? How could you go from 5? How do you go from 5 to 8,000?
The programs that we use have all been computerized.
Okay.
So when I set up an account for the company that I'm working with, then they have access through a link on the internet that they can send those surveys to their potential hires. They fill those out. It goes through. There's 23 years of research behind the surveys that we have. They've all been created with a bunch of algorithms that look at 25,000 different variables.
Wow.
And then they give them an 8 to 18 page report on the person, looking at 15 different personality traits. So it's really just a matter of how many people you want to send that link for your account that goes to. As I mentioned at the beginning, I work with a company out of Waco, Texas. They have the server space. They run the programs. They have the IT people. So my footprint can be small because all I'm doing is providing a link to it. I then have a group of subcontractors that work for me when we go look at different components of the onboarding and the HR process that I bring in to help me with that, because I'm not a subject matter expert in all of them. So I try to keep my footprint small, keeps my costs down, allows me to offer very competitive rates to my customers, primarily because so much of it is done over the internet via links and programs set up. So.
Okay, makes sense. Makes sense. And since how long do you have this company?
I've been working for myself now for 7 months.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Yep. So it's
how's that going?
Loving every minute of it. There's a lot to be said about having not commute up 95 every day into Tyson's Corner to go to work. Nice day out, just walk down the hall, turn on the Harley and take a ride. But it was a dream of mine. Come out, help people, and really kind of set my own schedule. And I'm really liking it. I've met a lot of great people through some of your events.
Okay, great.
It's amazing the different types of companies people stand up, the ideas that they have, and just the diversity of people that you get to deal with when you own your own company and get to run around and talk to people.
No, it's great. It's fantastic. Man, talking about the breakfast, what don't you tell the audience your experience at the breakfast event?
I have a great time there. It's I had never done speed dating before, but I feel that I kind of got introduced to it at the breakfast with the speed networking. There's not many places that you can go get a 10 to 15 minute overview of a company and what they can do for you and what they have out there, and then spend an hour meeting 25 to 50 people and the contacts that are made there. It's a lot of people who are helping each other build their networks. It's a quick turnaround. It's not a lot of wasted time, which is great for those of us who are dependent on our ability to get out and generate and do business. I've been 4 months in a row. You gave me the opportunity to present. I get constant contacts. As a matter of fact, your breakfast has got its own folder on my web or my email, because of stuff everybody I get a contact on, because I like to keep where the successful ones, and it is by far the most populated one. Okay. And that's why I'm looking forward to your event in May.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's been one of the most. It has probably been the single most effective networking thing that I've been to.
Okay, I'm glad to hear that. Well, Scott's going to be at our event on May 22nd. That's the expo here at the Stacy Sherwood Community Center. But he also will be doing a seminar. So if you want to learn more really about HR and then all that is mentioned so far, know that we'll be doing the seminar at that expo, so you can learn more from him. We'll be at the Stacy Sherwood Community Center May 22nd. The expo is between 8 a.m. and 2 p.m. The address is 3740 Old Lee Highway here in Fairfax. Definitely come on out so you can get to learn more from him. I have a question for you now, Scott.
Yes, sir.
What would you consider your biggest challenge in life?
Wow. Having a 17-year-old daughter. I guess the biggest challenge I've had is just finding stuff that I'm passionate about and moving from passion to passion. And right now, this is it. You know, helping companies and really working for myself, dictating what I do. You know, I loved my time in the Army. I really enjoyed my time at Booz Allen, and you know, this is just the next phase. So I guess it's continuing to find a challenge and things that interest me.
Very good.
And shaping that around my 17-year-old daughter.
She's not watching, just so you know.
Oh, she knows it. Yeah,
okay, all right. And what would you consider so far? I do understand that you're looking for bigger and better things with your new business, but what would you consider so far your biggest success in life?
The same big challenge, my daughter.
Okay.
To take it out of that level, I would say, you know, being able to serve my country. I feel that I did that well. You know, I subscribe to the fact that we all should do that. But that gave me a lot of opportunities. I got to see most of the world, met a lot of great people, got a lot of good training, and it's put me where I'm at now. You know, I feel I'm relatively successful. Got a, you know, great life going on, have everything I want, and I think it's all comes from, you know, what I got serving my country and the people that mentored me as I was coming along.
Very good. That's great, truly very great. I think it gave you some kind of perspective that most people may not necessarily have. It
afforded me the opportunity to go see a lot of places that they weren't as well off as we were. You know, and it puts things in perspective. You know, not everything's a crisis anymore. You know, when you know, you see people who are worried about where they're getting their next meal from. When you come here, it's just not that big a deal. You know, it makes it a lot easier to understand what big problems are, and you know, then you can find time to help people solve some of their problems.
Very good, very good. Now, how does the experience in Booz Allen help you in what you do today?
Well, I did a lot of training exercises. I did a lot of interaction with diverse staff, building teams, managing teams, working for different clients with different problem sets. I wasn't in HR at Booz Allen, but I hired and managed staff, led teams for 16 years. So it helped me understand that every person that comes to work for you is different. You have to understand how to motivate them, how to make them feel like they're part of the success of whatever team or operation you're involved in. And I'm just trying to translate that now to different sets in different places. So it really it's not a direct correlation, but there was so much of the day-to-day stuff I did that I think just really are things that you can take out and apply just about anywhere in the business world.
Very good. And now, as far as the service that you provide, I understand is on the internet. Do you have any geographical area, or you can help anybody nationally or internationally? What is the setup there?
I can work anywhere in the world. I am not geographically restricted. I have strategic partners that I work with. There's 42 of us around the world. Okay. So if somebody wants to have training in Jacksonville, Florida, I call Scott Watson down there. He runs our, he has a business just like mine down there. We work together, so they have a local person there if they need it. However, if it's somebody that I know, maybe from the Army that now lives in Colorado Springs and wants to work, I can go out there, set up a program for him, travel out to do the training, manage and help him with his account for the assessments and stuff from here. So there is no geographical restriction.
I know I've called you in the past and it's traveling.
Yes.
So that's what happened there. Am I correct?
Yeah, I've been to Texas a couple times. And you've tried to call. I'm going to Florida here in 2 weeks. I travel a little bit.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's excellent. So what is your passion? What is your hobby, your favorite hobby then?
My favorite hobby is riding my motorcycles.
Okay.
I spend a lot of time riding in support of a Combat Veterans Motorcycle Association.
Tell us a bit more about that.
It's a 501c charity where we go out and support events that raise money to support different veteran activities. We support the Wounded Warriors of Virginia. We support a residential home in Richmond area, and then we support a program in Norfolk where they provide housing for homeless veterans. We last year raised enough money to furnish 8 apartments down there for them to put people in for a year. I was for 3 years the state commander. Handed that off, allowed someone else to take that role over. But we're raising about somewhere around $75,000 a year for veteran events just in Virginia. Now we're a nationwide, actually an international organization, because some of our military people who are stationed in Germany and Korea are also members, and we do that across every state. And then we get together and support each other's events. In May, I'm going to North Carolina to support one of theirs, and they'll come up here and support ours. So it's a way for us to help other veterans in organizations that support them, and lets us use our passion of riding motorcycles to raise money.
And how do you do that? Is there some races where you have a different area? Do you have a course, a set, or a distance, or whatever? How does that work?
It varies from event to event. The primary one, the style is called a poker run. We'll pick a route. There'll be a start point, 3 midpoints, and an end point. You draw a card at each one. You pay $20 to draw a poker hand. Whoever gets the best hand out of the 5 cards they drew, they get half the money, the other half goes to the charity.
Gotcha.
Some of the other ones, there's just a fee to have the bike in the ride. You ride to an end point, and there'll be a barbecue there or something like that. So the price, what you give, usually includes a T-shirt and a meal at the end, and the donation goes to the charity of that event.
Okay.
So those are the 2 typical kinds.
Very good, excellent. All right, so you're quite busy, I can see.
I try. Yeah, keeps me out of trouble. So.
That's very good. Hey, I just want to let you know, folks, here that we mentioned the breakfast event, and you can see our website there, which is blnbc.com. I'm not sure when this program will come to you, but our next one is on April the 23rd. Following that, on May the 22nd, we'll have the expo with about 80 to 100 exhibitors, 10 or 15 sponsors, and there's still room for exhibitors and sponsors. So join us. As I say, we'll be at the Stacy Sherwood Community Center. The website for that is ultbizexpo.com, ultbizexpo.com. Now, Scott, why don't you tell us what are the final words that you have for our audience over here when it comes to handling personnel and turnover? What could you say to the business people? What message would you want to leave with them?
I guess I would go back to just recognize that each person's an individual. When you get a resume, you get 1 or 2 pieces, or 2 pages. It kind of gives a general overview of their background and experience. Add that 3rd leg to the interview process. Besides the resume and the interview, get that personality characteristics in there so you can see if they're going to be a personality fit. Like I said, we'll come in and do a free consultation with you. We'll take a look at your turnover rates, have a discussion with you at no cost, see what you have going on. Maybe your system works, But if you can add that 3rd piece to it and add a little bit of personal touch to it, and then transition that into an onboarding process, let your new employees think that they're part of the environment and part of the success of the company.
No, that's very good. That's very important. I was talking to somebody a while back. They told me the story of Southwest that I did not know. Apparently, the owner, the top manager of Southwest, what he did, really just went and found out about the people.
Right. Yeah, he was, as I've heard the story.
You mentioned that or somebody else.
Yeah, I didn't. I've heard that he spent a lot of time just out, in the Army we called it leading by walking around. Go out and get to know the people. And my understanding is the guy who started Southwest was very personable. He went out and he would just chat with everybody, from the baggage handlers to the guys at the counter. And it really created that family environment for the company, as opposed to some big corporation, which it is. In fact, it's really large, but it made people feel that they were part of something. So,
yeah, apparently that's how it was hiring people. He was not looking at what they've done. He was not looking at the personality, because he'll bring them in and train them on the specific functions they were supposed to go on. And that created one of the strongest company in this country.
Right. Yeah. And I just think it's very important. There are so much out there, as we've created the new tech, all this technology that's so impersonal. Adding that personal touch and engaging with your staff really helps keep people around. There's a recent survey or study done. The results were published in the Harvard Business News. About 70% of employees feel that they're not engaged at work. They're just not part of the success of that company. They come to work, they do their 8 hours, they leave.
They're not involved at all.
Right, and that it starts at the very beginning. I mean, that employee, the first time that you're dealing with them, starts to set how they view their job, and whether it becomes part of their life, whether it becomes part of their passion, or whether it's just some place to come check 8 hours a day and wait to cash the paycheck. So I just think that any opportunity you have to engage staff and make it personable, you have a better chance of keeping those folks, which in the long run as a business owner is going to save you money. I mean, because they're going to stay there, they're going to care about the success of the company, and you're not going to have to be retraining new staff all the time. So.
Wow. 70%, that's a high number.
Yeah.
That's definitely a high number. Well, that's the reason I want to have you on the show. I really appreciate you coming out.
Oh, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, so definitely we'll do this again at some time. Folks, as I mentioned, our next breakfast will be on April the 23rd. And you can catch our show on Tuesday at 9, Wednesday after midnight, and Saturday at 2 o'clock. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
This program was brought to you by Organo Gold. Organo Gold is a health and wellness company that provides healthy coffees, teas, and chocolate. All one has to do is consume the available coffee, teas, chocolate, and other products to get all the available benefits. One can also share these products with others to help them improve their health as well.